I'll give a very relatable example, maybe for all you guys. There are courses where the fee of the courses are about 3 to 5 lakhs per year. However, once you have done and completed on the course, the employability of the course comes as 10,000 rupees as a salary per month. So it does not actually relate the kind of expenditure versus the ROI. So as a startup, we it is very important to look at the revenue versus the return on investment that we are looking at. So if we are early thinkers while in the at the while in class 11 and 12, then okay, fine, this is the stream that I'm trying to take. What are the opportunities that are there? How many jobs are there? What grades of pay scale are there? If we are able to streamline our thought process and make sure that this spreading awareness kind of initiatives happen to everyone, it is it is not about spreading this kind of intelligence for the entitled ones, as in, okay, 10 people are on my platform, so I'll let the 10 people know. This is not for one, this is for all. Where you are aware about the path you're taking, you look at a prescription, where we are looking at a describe whatever data we have in the ERP model. We are also looking at deduce intelligence out of it, then predict whatever possibilities we can think of, and for forward way we can also think of prescribing. So prescribing is not yet done, it is still under process of development, but that is where we want to, where understanding the bent of mind for a student, we can say, and we can, and this is a infrastructure which can also help the policymakers, as in how many policymakers would be ready and interested to look at a data dashboard as such, where a Tata is setting up a semiconductor plant in Assam, and they would do a pestle analysis for it, and without knowing the resource component of how many people are ready to be employed out there, or how many people across India are ready to relocate into an Assamese domicile. And similarly, there are innumerable opportunities across the country. It needs a very good mapping, and the mapping can only happen through a wonderful infrastructure. Digital is the only way of outreach, fastest way of outreach, and convenient way of outreach to every individual back at home. For example, how many BCom honors student or a BCom graduate would think that I can become a financial analyst? So these are very hard hitting questions which would probably hit you between the eyes, or maybe grab you by the shoulders and awaken that, hey, I am a BCom analyst, and everybody would say, oh, you are just commerce graduate and you are not a science student, he's doing IIT and all that stuff. And maybe you are so good in your commerce and accounts and understanding of business, etc., business studies, etc. You might land up a job at the Merrill Lynch of the world. You might land up a job at the Bank of Americas of the world. Because there is, across industries, there is a need for all the aspects and all the segments. So somebody might be interested in learning anthropology or theology, for the matter of fact. They might be coming from a tier 2 or a tier 3 city where they do not have the exposure of what could be the possible future. Where do I get a JRF from? What are the next steps that could be taken? We might refer to Google, we might get an understanding from the secondary research, but it is important for us to have somebody who can handhold and guide. So I think this kind of encapsulates the need of the digital public infrastructure, and how we are looking at building a bridge, or probably um, I call it the economics of education. So economics comes from the word economia, which means gap. So I call it the economics of education, where we are trying to build an infrastructure which kind of addresses the gap between the employee and the employer relationship, where it is important for the student to understand the depth of the content, the application of the content, and it is important for the employer as well to outreach and map the syllabus of the student, that okay, this is something that you should be looking at first year, because these are the areas that you will be able to apply. So there is a very important thing that I was talking with on one of the shows in my last session, where uh, I strictly feel that there is a need of mapping the job description with the syllabus of education or the stream that you're studying. And that is a very important need that a student must be able to relate. If I am in first year, I'm looking for so and so job at so and so package, then these are the job descriptions that are listed on LinkedIn. And if these are the job descriptions linked on put up on LinkedIn, then are these subjects that I'm studying very well so that I can answer those questions when I apply for this job? So there is where I think a navigation or compass is something that students of today need, and digital public infrastructure is one of the very convenient ways how we are able to outreach and provide intelligence as an insight to the students, the faculties, the parents, the teachers, and also the administrators of the institutions.
So basically, you found out a gap between the edutech and the students that are studying, and then you created something out of it.
Yes,
So
also it also
basically,
has an employer persona coming into it.
mhm. So you saw the gap, but from my end point, you were at a very good job, right? You were at the sales team looking all over India. In 2022, finally, you decided to quit your job and then to start your own startup, the Amar Tech. So, what was the motivation behind it?
So, startup is a self-motivated factor. Uh, there are people who say you have to be absolutely delusional because building a startup, you have to void all the logics, logical comprehensions, because there are salaries that you would get. You need to take care of your parents, you need to take care of your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend, your do's and don'ts, your medical expenditures, your personal choices or aspirations that you might have built your entire career on. And finally, you get a job, and all of a sudden, you decide that no, I want to do a startup. Or maybe you don't get a job, and before that, you decide that you want to do a startup. So, it is not a fad. It is not something where it is not an attire that you would like to wear and look good. That, oh my God, I'm also building a startup and I look really great. And it's the hip thing in town. I'm a startup founder. It is not. It is tough. Every day you got to wake up. Like, I think if it is, it has to be self-fueling. It cannot be somebody else pepping you up to wake up in the morning, do your bed, and get out for breakfast and move out to your office or shop or whatever, wherever you sit down. I remember days when I used my car's trunk as the seat to sit and talk to people. There are days when I used to use my car's window panes as a whiteboard and use those removable markers to identify and talk about points that I wanted to prescribe to them. There was a certain point of time when I bought a small whiteboard and I was carrying it across in my car because I did not have money to. Yes, I was able to afford a car because I think that was a very important need for me. But honestly speaking, days are difficult. You have to be self motivated. You have to figure out your own specifics. What is the need for today? It is not about the what people will think. It is not about what my friends would say. The most important thing is if you got to be self refueling.
Right, of course. When you do a startup, it's 24 hours of your life, no more 9 to 5. Great. So, sir, like you just said, ki it's your own expense on your own expense. So, how did you manage to balance both the commercial and the social aspect? Because now when you tell me that you have to sit in your car and then you have to pitch your ideas to other companies founders, then how did you balance that out, the commercial aspect as well as the social aspect?
Well, I will take a step back because I think that kind of builds up the concept of getting into answering or addressing this question. If you are if you are a self-inspired guy who thinks or wishes that I would like to build a startup and address this gap, the first and the foremost talent that you must have is you got to be the best salesman ever. I sold pretty well. I helped people buy. I was a consultant. I earned a good money. I was on a very good salary. Things were taken care of. And I kind of took loans wherever possible from. I kind of, whatever savings I had, whatever provident fund that was there, all my deposits and everything liquidated. I kind of poured in my money here. So now, if you're asking me where does the social and the formal angle come from, it is not just about pitching what I was doing in the car. I was convincing people that this can happen in the real world. And it is not just today, it is not just tomorrow that you will have to wait unless a founder pumps in money. I have nowhere else to go. You got to recruit people. You got to tell them that, okay, fine, I'm not a formalized company today, but I can give you this money. Would you do this work for me? And that is the most important part, where you are able to sell your idea for people to buy in. Some would call you names, some would use adjectives of different kinds, some would probably agree to the fact of being delusional. Somebody would say that's a long mile. When you become big, I would then join. You will have to accept all of it with a smile on the face, and then balance out the social, which is, I think, the friendlier side of things, whether it is with the family or whether it is off family. Be aligned to your peers, be respectful towards your seniors, the thought leaders, the very high professionals who have helped you across to take several decisions. It is not always that everybody will be right. There are times when things will go out of line and you will not like it, as I have personally. And still, you are the only judger of your actions. You take that, you balance the equation out, and then you start stepping you start keeping those stones and stepping on them to make sure that you are able to keep surviving, because startup is about resilience. I think the most important factor is not those luxury glory days. It is not the Lamborghini or the big castle that you own on the day one. It is about keeping your head down, work. People say good things, bad things, likely, unlikely, you accept it, you put your head down and work. I think that is the only mantra for success and while building a startup.